Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to do the Booktuber Bio Tag. This was created by Jessica's library card in celebration of her 1-year anniversary on BookTube, and I think it's just a really good way of introducing yourself or reintroducing yourself if it's been a little while that you've been doing BookTube. People are always stumbling across videos, and so this is just a good little way of letting people know what your reading taste is, what your general vibe as a booktuber is. And so yeah, without much further ado, let's just get straight into these questions. Question number 1 is, who are you? Share a little bit about yourself as much as you feel comfortable. So my name is Charlotte. I know that is a little bit confusing for people because my channel name is Coynie Reads. Another thing I get questions about is how to pronounce the name of my channel, and it is Coynie. And that is based on a nickname that I had in secondary school. It's funny because barely anybody calls me that, and just a couple of people who knew me in secondary school still call me that. I generally go by Charlotte, but I've had Coynie on most of my social media handles for such a long time that it felt a little bit odd to make a BookTube channel and not have that included. But my actual name is Charlotte. I am originally from West Yorkshire but currently live in Oxford, and I work in publishing, and I went to university to study history and public history. So there's a little snapshot of me. Question number 2 is, how long have you been on BookTube? I have been on BookTube for 4 3/4 years. I can tell you it will be my 5-year anniversary on May the 20th, which feels pretty wild considering how long it had been that I'd wanted to make a BookTube channel. I started watching BookTube tail end of 2013, had seriously considered wanting to make BookTube videos from around 2014, but a combination of not really having the tech to do so and general anxiety about putting myself, my thoughts and my opinions online, what people would say about it, had just held me back. And then in the midst of the pandemic in spring 2020, I finally gave it a go. Question number 3 is, what kind of books do you like to read, and has BookTube had an effect on what you read? I always say my top 5 genres are history non-fiction, historical fiction, romance classics and contemporary. Those are the 5 genres that I generally gravitate towards, though that is not the limit of what I read. Since starting BookTube, I would say I generally read a little bit more historical fiction than I did previously, because a lot of people noted whenever they talk about my channel that I do read historical fiction. I always thought I wasn't particularly fussed on historical fiction, and then I quickly came to learn that it's probably because I wasn't reading the right type of historical fiction, and the fact that I had a lot of opinions on the historical fiction that I did read probably meant that I was more invested in it than I was really letting on. Now I've kind of embraced it as part of my BookTube identity. I think another way in which my reading has developed over my time on BookTube is that recently I find myself less inclined to follow BookTube's lead on what I should read. In the past couple of years, I've not really engaged much with prize lists or took part in many readathons, though actually that is a change that I'm not entirely happy with, because I feel like as a result of it, I felt less part of the community. It's something that I'm wanting to get more engaged in this coming year. But then there's also an aspect of my brain that is very much a mood reader and just wants to read what I want to read. So I'm kind of balancing that up this year. Question number 4 is, what do you enjoy about making BookTube videos? For me, it's the bookends of the process of making BookTube videos. I like planning them and I like having made them. I like it when they go live and I'm able to interact with people in the comments about them. Conversely, question number 5 is, what do you not enjoy about making videos? You can tell from the previous answer, it's probably the middle part. I generally feel a little bit anxious about filming videos just because I know I am not the most fluent speaker in the world. It's definitely something that I'm getting better at each time that I make videos, but I am not somebody who is able to just sit down and just talk for 30 minutes without stopping. I know there are booktubers out there like Lauren in the Books and Steve Donahue who just sit down and they don't do any editing. They can just talk and it be coherent, and I don't understand you. That is not a skill that I have. And so my videos take a lot of editing, and so I can find myself getting quite frustrated when I'm filming, not because I'm not enjoying myself, but because I'm frustrated with myself for not being able to get my thoughts out of my brain. It's one of the reasons that I have to take very extensive notes, and for review videos I generally have a script because I don't want to miss any points, but my brain can get a little bit scrambled under pressure, and so I try to ease that where I can. And once again, because I do stop and start, because I do trip up over words, that means that the editing process for my BookTube videos is pretty extensive, and you know, it's a lot of time, and once again find myself getting quite frustrated with myself. I'm like, well, if you were a more fluent speaker then you wouldn't have to do all of this. But then again, part of the issue with editing is my own fault. I know that there are appliances like Filmora which have silence detection and can just take away all of the moments where I have paused in the middle of talking. Scott over at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot turned me onto that 2 years ago, and the only reason that I haven't actually used that process is because I don't like change. I'm just procrastinating doing anything different from my normal routine, which is kind of silly. But the amount of excitement that I get from planning and from actually finally finishing my videos is enough to pull me through the editing and the filming section. And so I continue. Question number 6. What video on your channel are you the most proud of? I'm generally proud of every video that I do because for such a long time I didn't think I was ever going to. But if you told me I had to pick like one type of video, then it would be the Les Mis videos that I did a few years ago when I was doing my read along of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo along with Kieran at KD Books. That was a project that was done over the course of 3 months, and I'm just really proud of that little series. I'm glad that it was a project that I stuck through to the end. I know that they were not some of my most popular videos because not everybody is interested in reading Les Mis, but it was something that I was very passionate about. I love Les Mis, both the book and the musical, and so I just wanted to bring that passion over to my channel. Question number 7 is there anything you wish was different about BookTube? Honestly, I wish we wouldn't just have the same debates over and over again, and I think maybe because I've been a watcher of BookTube for 10 years and I've been a creator for almost 5, you know, inevitably you're going to see the same arguments popping up over and over again. Things like real readers don't listen to audiobooks, or real readers don't have rainbow shelves, dog earring pages versus bookmarks. I don't see the point in any of these discussions, all the way up to things like debates about whether genre fiction really counts as proper reading, or sex scenes in romance books. I have little patience for it. I just feel like it's a lot of people stirring the pot for no reason when we could just get on and read. Question number 8 is name 3 books that you have reviewed on your channel that you feel represent who you are as a reader. And that's a pretty difficult question, especially this past year I've done a lot more individual book reviews. I always have to give a nod to one of the first review videos that I did on this channel, which was about the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel, one of my favourite book series of all time, and I think was a really nice way of me being able to showcase my love of historical fiction and particularly of the Tudors. The Wolf Hall trilogy sits in the period of Tudor history that I am the most interested in, so I think that's a pretty good representation of me. Maybe for history non-fiction, something like Uproar by Alice Loxton, and then this is still historical fiction but something that is a little bit more recent, something like A Terrible Kindness by Jo Browning Rowe, because that also ties in with my love of music and very character focused stories. But yeah, I'll put my review playlist down below because I think the books that I review there are a pretty good gauge on what I like to read. Question number 9, name 3 booktubers whose content inspires you. Look, it's kind of harsh to make me only pick 3. I think recently I am most inspired by people who are very active within the booktube community, whether that is doing lots of shout outs for other booktubers, whether it's getting very active and involved with discussions that are going on in the booktube community, whether that's about prize long lists or just general discussions that we are having. Not only because obviously these people are so lovely and bubbly and friendly, but also just very organised and on top of it, and that's something that I aspire to. So I'm thinking of people like Shelley Swearingen, Katie from Books and Things, Victoria from What Victoria Read. Absolutely love those 3, but obviously that list is not exclusive. There are so many other booktubers who I absolutely love and admire the work that they do, but those are 3 that come to mind first. And then question number 10 is share the love. It can be challenging to find your audience. Name 3 booktubers who you think need more hype. Obviously, I have to give a shout out to Brittany over at Literally Smitten, who has recently returned to BookTube, and I'm so delighted. She is a fellow history and historical fiction lover. She has been my co-host for History-a-thon previously, and I just think she's wonderful. I love Leanne over at Leanne Rose, one of my very good friends on BookTube, who I've had the pleasure to meet in person multiple times. I love her focus on feminism, on children's literature and contemporaries. I think she's amazing. I love Shannon over at 155 Books. Definitely somebody who needs more love. We used to co-host with Karis over at Karis's Corner, a readathon series called I Should Have Read That, where we alternated between a more contemporary book and a more classic book that we should have read by now. Always something I have in the back of my mind that I would like to bring back, though I know that people's schedules are very busy. But yeah, Shannon is absolutely delightful. One to watch definitely if you like a very calm, chilled out, inspiring vibe, and if you like a little bit of dark academia, I can definitely recommend Shannon. So there we go, those are all of the questions in the Booktuber bio tag. Please do let me know any of your answers to these questions. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.